How long were you locked up total in prison?
8 year, 8 months, 16 days.
That's a long stretch, man. It seems like, growing up, hip hop always glorified prisons. Like, if you went to prison, it was like a badge of honor. But let the people know what prison really is like.
I mean, prison is what you make of it. You could go to prison and come home worse. You could go to prison, come home better. In my situation, I came home better and worse. Worse in a good way though. Worse not taking no bullshit off of nobody. Not falling and going and doing, not being that naive person that I was before I went in. And better, I got my GED. They gave me a high school diploma. I graduated with a cap and gown in prison. I kicked my drug addiction. You know what I'm saying? I was on heroin and cocaine at 14 years old. Went in prison when I was 21, 22. And I was doing drugs from the whole time from that until then. And when I got in prison, I kicked my habit. A whole lot of good came out of that curse. You know what I'm saying? So, it's what you make of it, man. You could go in there and get into all kind of stuff, or you could go in there and you could better yourself. I wrote a book. I wrote a screenplay. Whole lot of stuff, man. I read. I got closer to God. Just a whole lot of stuff came out of it. It's what you make out of it.
Now, were you locked up with any other artists? During the whole during the 8 years you were locked up.
T.I., like when I went to where I was at, T.I. had just left. I was gone from the state to the feds. I did state time and fed time. So I was locked up with Sherman Williams. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was a running back with Emmitt Smith at Dallas Cowboy. He was locked up at the time. He home now. He did like 14, 15 years. And a lot of judges and politicians and stuff like that people might, know that they've been in there. But when you're in the feds, man, you liable to run into anybody that's somebody. But when you're in there, we all have a number. So it don't mean nothing. I still had to walk the yard and still had to go to the child hall if I wanted to eat some chicken. I couldn't just get it. I still had to do the same things there. I still had to wake up in the morning and go to school. You either go to school or you work. You got to do one of them. If I get an infraction, I got to go in the hole. I had to do all that. I done been in the hole. I done did a whole lot of stuff. So that experience taught me a lot. That experience humbled me to where, I don't want to be around no bullshit. I don't want no bullshit around me. You can't bring no bullshit around me because I know that your freedom get taken away from you like that, and you have people telling you what to do that's younger than you. That's a bad feeling. You know what I'm saying? And people just abusing their authority just because you're in a situation and they look down on you. I don't never want to be in that situation again. That don't make you not a man because you don't want to be in that situation. You want to walk right. You know what I'm saying? That make you a man.
Well, BG is locked up right now, right?
Yeah. Free BG, man. He fighting. Same way like I had 22 years. I fought, I gave 12 years back. BG got 14, he fighting. And I believe, he'll be home real soon. Any day, man, it's tricky in the court system because you liable to plead out and they liable to violate your right by giving you too much time or anything like that, but you don't know. But then when you study law, you realize, man, dang, they did me the same way they did this dude. We got similar cases. That's a way for me to go home. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it worked. Like every day the prosecutors use prosecutor misconduct. They do all kind of things. Then your attorney's ineffective assistant of counsel. It's all kind of ways, man, where our rights get violated. Your rights get violated when you don't know your rights. So it be like a school, man. School of hard knocks. You learn, man, if you put yourself in a situation to learn.
Now, have you been talking to BG at all?
Yeah, we talk all the time on CoreLink. You got emails in the feds and the state now. I could get on the phone with him or email right now. Send him an email, he email me back just like I'm emailing anybody else. It's you can send pictures through text. It's all kind of stuff. They got MP3s and there they get the music. Man, it's sad to say, but I don't know if they trying to make jail comfortable or try to make it look comfortable, but it's not a comfortable place, man.
When you were locked up, were you in protective custody at all? Because of your rap career.
Yeah, my first time in there, they put me on administration segregation, and what that is, it's a different from protective custody. A lot of celebrities, they gonna automatically put you on there because they say you got influence over the jail. Now, when I got in the feds, it's you out there, because everybody basically, like I say, you got lawyers, you got everybody that they feel like, they somebody. So it's like we on the same level, you know what I'm saying? And I roamed the yard, man. I was able to go to visit. I was able to touch my wife because I haven't touched my wife when they had me on administration. And man, when I wanted to get married, I couldn't even hold her. That was getting to me, you know what I'm saying? It kind of drove me. When I was able to get that freedom, man, I was able to go to school. I was able to mix and mingle. It was a better feeling, you know what I'm saying? And being on administration segregation could have saved me, you know what I'm saying? Because not meaning that you scared or anything, they could have been protecting you, you know what I'm saying? Being Turk from the Hot Boys, you got people like any celebrity, you know what I'm saying? That's what they gonna do. They gonna put you in a controlled environment, and it's not gonna be a lot of people. That's what they do. It's just it's precaution for the jail. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of celebrities not gonna come to you and tell you that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what they do, and they call it administration. You know what I'm saying? Where they got to lock you down. You know what I'm saying? So that's against your will. You can't. They got to do that.
I mean, in prison, you got a lot of gangs, who you have a lot of gang members in prison, and a lot of time people join gangs in order to feel safe and feel like they can make it through. Were you ever approached and asked to affiliate yourself with Crips, Bloods,
Nah,
Black
I mean, you approach, and like my approach must be jokes though. Man, we gonna put you down, man, but they be joking. When you stand for something and a person know, man, nah, he ain't with all that. Like, respect go a long way. I respect what you do. They gonna respect what I do. That's just what it was. But, I'm cool with Crips, Bloods, Vice Lord, GDs, you know what I'm saying? MS-13, just all that. Like, I'm cool. I'm cool with them. I respect a man. So I never had that kind of peer pressure on me, to where I had to join the gang for any kind of protection or anything, because I was always respectful, and I didn't take no sides. Whatever you got into it with this gang about, that was y'all business. I can't speak on it. That ain't my business. I see nothing, I hear nothing. I turn around, you know what I'm saying? So that's just life.
I mean, was there a lot of racial tension in prison?
Oh yeah.
Where you have the Nazis and and so forth who may feel a certain type of way.
Man, you got the Hispanics, they gonna stick together. The blacks, no matter what kind of gang you're in, when it's a race on ride or something, they gonna come together because they outnumber. And then you got the whites. So you got the whites, the Hispanics, and the blacks, and you got the Chinese. You know what I'm saying? So Chinese, they in camp, the Asians and all that, they roll together. So it's kind of like that, you know what I'm saying? But you still have your gangs and stuff, like when it's not any racial tension going on. Everybody separating to what they is, you know what I'm saying? And that's just how it be. Just prison like the streets, man, you know what I'm saying? You just can't go nowhere. You don't have no gun, you don't have no car. But everything goes on that goes on the street. Instead of you having your gun, you got your knife. You got whatever kind of sharp object you get your hand on, You make moves, you do whatever, you know what I'm saying? So some people, they got people that then went to prison and making so much money than people on the streets from prison, you know what I'm saying? So it's all kind of ways, man, to, salute to the prison, man, you know what I'm saying? I come from it, I know how it is, man, you know what I'm saying? I think that they always shed the wrong light on people in prison because you do have people that change. Like I started a magazine called YNT Incarcerated, and basically, it's shedding light on people's stories that in prison who changing their life around to better and inspire people that's going down that path that they went down, and I got a few guys that write books, that draw, whatever their talent may be, you know what I'm saying? We about to launch that and just show a whole new light of what's going on. I come from that, and here I am, I'm talking to y'all today and doing a media run, and they counted me out. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, you talk about how you actually improved from being in prison, but from your personal point of view, do you feel that the prisons are designed to improve people once they leave, or are they designed for people to come right back?
Nah, it's the choices that you make. Prison are always designed to rehabilitate. That's the purpose. You know, you got to have a strong mind to go through a prison, because it is drugs, you know, it is peer pressure, you know, it is intimidation, and you know, it's all that go on. The same thing that go on in the street, it go on. That's why a lot of people, you know, try to, like you say, they join gang, because some of them be scared for their life. You know what I'm saying? And on the street, they probably wouldn't join them because they go grab a pistol. And now you got the man up, a man down. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you might have the toughest dude on the street, and he gonna bust something up. But when he get in prison, he liable to be somebody's girl. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different politic. You know what I'm saying? It's different. You might have a bum on the street, but when he get to prison, he the man. You know what I'm saying? So it just change up, man. It's just how you carry yourself in there. I rehabilitated myself. I stayed away from everything by involving myself into things that I was preparing myself for when I come home. I was preparing myself to beat my case, to get my time back. Like, I had stuff to do, you know, and I didn't stay idle, and I didn't involve myself in those conversations. I didn't get in those debates. Just stayed away from it. The minute you open up that door, you show any kind of anything, they gonna play on it. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta be on your shit, man. Just straight up. You know, if you not, you gonna have a hard time.
I remember I was talking to a friend of mine, and he had done like, I think 10 years. And he was telling me about, you know, all the killers, you know, who come into prison, you know, on all the dudes who bust their gun.
Yeah.
And he was basically, you know, explaining to me how, like, you know, all these dudes that are shooting people outside, you know, they're shooting from across the street, you know, from a car. But once you get to prison, if you got a problem with someone, you got to go hand to hand. You got to be right there in that person's direct space.
Yeah.
And he said 99% of those killers really don't want a piece of that, and they end up just, you know, sitting back and being, you know,
it's different. It's different in prison now. Like I say, you have toughest guy on the street, man. He ain't on that in there, because you can't go nowhere. Everything right in front of you, and it's straight hand-to-hand combat. Whether it be whatever they get their hand on, you know, and it's a blessing to make it out of that situation, man. So I just thank God I stayed prayed up. I ain't just do it on my own. Like, it was more of a spiritual walk through it, man, you know, because you got to think people could poison your food. You know, they could do anything, like anything. You ain't guaranteed. I had a homeboy who just died probably like a year or two. You know, he was in perfect health before he went to prison. We don't know what happened to him. You know, I went to his funeral in New Orleans. He died in prison. We don't know if they poisoned him or, you know, what happened. But just like that, man, like you could get got real quick, because it ain't nowhere to go in your sleep. You know what I'm saying? Before I came home, my homeboy, he got hit in the face with an iron, you know, and it's just crazy, man. Like, you see a whole lot of stuff going on. But I just thank God I was able to walk through it and get through it. And that ain't a place I glorify. That ain't a place where I say, you young, you out there, you need to go to build up credit. Nah, that ain't the place. I'm completely against catching a charge.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine, my son, and he did 7 years in prison. And I remember one night we got into this long conversation, and I said, well, you know, during the 7 years, how come you never joined a gang? How come you never joined the Bloods, for example, which is real big on the East Coast, which is where he's from? And he explained it to me. He said, okay, so here's what happens in prison when you join a gang, right? So let's say, you know, you feel like you need protection, so you join the Bloods.
Yeah.
The first thing they do is start sending you on a bunch of missions they don't want to do themselves. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, you part of us, you got to go stab that dude.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't do that, they're going to fuck you up. And if you do that, you know, there's a good chance you end up getting caught, and then now you have 10, 20 more years on top of your sentence, and it just sets up a cycle where you never get out.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see that personally?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. You know, I call that sin outs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, me personally, I got a boss mentality. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't have, and I don't have. I'm not against it, you know, to each his own. But I couldn't have nobody telling me, man, the prison, the officers was a gang. That was enough gang control to me. You know what I'm saying? And to be under somebody authority, man, I couldn't do it. So I didn't put myself in a situation to where I would have needed somebody to help me. Fortunately, I didn't have to deal with all that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to deal with it. I had some riders that'll ride, and I wasn't a part of no gang. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the respect and how I carry myself. So if a person violate Turk, they got to be hating on them. So you know what, Turk, you don't even have to deal with it. I had 2 fights when I was in jail. You know what I'm saying? I had a fight with a Crip dude, and I had a fight with some other dude. He just was talking crazy, and you know, but that was it. And I did 88 months, 16 days. That's my only 2 fights I had. Now I had several, you know, heated arguments and stuff like that, but other than that, man, you know, everything was smooth.
$25 million bail, like.
I'm going in there and rob whoever got the $25 million bail. I'm taking everything out of his house because he won't be coming back. That's going to hit him now.
I've been so used to playing the back for so long that doing what I'm doing now, it's like I didn't even realize that how differently people are looking at me already in that sense. Like, there are people now when I go out, like before, people never used to come up to me when I go out, but now when I go out, people always come up to me.